welcome to everybody listening to our YouTube group who will get this video exclusively, this stream exclusively. Unfortunately, this will not be sent out to all of our normal podcast listeners. This is a YouTube exclusive. We normally do not stream early, usually every Friday here on twitch.tv/ARNGM. We usually do our normal shoot the shit episode, but this is a special occasion, and for today we're going to be talking about some big gaming news. Mr. Beards, how you doing there, sir?
Excited, man. Like, I was saying what the fuck for the first 10 minutes this morning when I went to Twitter. I was like, nah, this gotta be a fucking troll. And then
I know you sent it to me, and I was like, huh? And I'm looking at it, and we'll go into it, you know. We'll go into it. We have the whole ordeal. We'll read, letters coming from Microsoft and of course letters coming from Blizzard. We'll give our views on a lot of this stuff. It's a lot of stuff to wrap our heads. I mean, big implications here, man. Huge implications. I remember when we were first talking about it beforehand, before we get into it, the whole thing, I remember saying to you, I was like, would they buy them just to throw Xbox into Battle.net? Like, we had this discussion like days ago.
Yeah, we did.
It's like the weirdest thing. We were talking about, and I'm like, would they just throw Xbox into Battle.net, or do they get rid of Battle.net? Like, is that going to be their new launcher for all thing Game Pass? It was just stupid stuff, but we'll go into it. It's funny that we had this discussion. Like I tell you all the time, man, I swear, the shit that we discuss every Friday just comes into fruition. Like, the moment we talk about it,
yep, it's
like the world, and this goes into, and I'm going to quickly, for y'all those laughing, I have the conspiracy of this being a virtual world, like everything just is created based on what I speak, because that's what seems to be happening on the show. If you're new to it, we say stuff, and then like a week or two later, it just comes up. If not even that, a couple of days after, it literally just manifests itself after we talk about it on the show on Friday.
It feels like.
Yeah, it definitely does. All right. So, Beers, thank you, sir, for spending the time with me to talk about this. I appreciate having you here. This definitely was something that that couldn't wait. It definitely shouldn't wait. Just like it feels like deja vu. We did the same thing for Bethesda. I think 3 years ago now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It just seems like we're doing the same thing. All right. So real quickly, for those who are watching and so forth, let's go over. This is what we saw this morning. I thought, as Beer says, he was just surprised. I thought I was streaming. I was like, wow, this really can't be happening. And dumb me, when I first saw it, I was like, wait a minute. All right, does this mean they're only buying, StarCraft Blizzard? And then I saw Call of Duty. I'm like, oh no, it's everything. It's everything. Okay, so let's real quickly through this. Welcoming the incredible teams. This is coming from Xbox.com. So, of course, this is the official statement from Microsoft, their gaming division. Welcome the incredible teams and legendary franchises of Activision Blizzard to Microsoft Gaming, creators of Call of Duty, Warcraft, Candy Crush, Tony Hawk, Diablo, Overwatch, Spyro, Hearthstone, Guitar Hero. Remember Guitar Hero on Facebook? We laughed about that. Crash Bandicoot, StarCraft, and more. Join the Xbox team. As a team, we are on a mission to extend the joy and community of gaming to everyone on the planet. We all know that gaming is the most vibrant and dynamic form of entertainment worldwide, and we experience the power of social connection and friendship that gaming makes possible. As we pursue this mission, it's incredibly exciting to announce that Microsoft has agreed to acquire Activision Blizzard. As many decades, the studios and teams that make up Activision Blizzard have earned vast wellspring of joy, respect from billions of people all over the world. We are incredibly excited to have the chance to work with this amazing, talented, dedicated people across Activision Publishing, Blizzard Entertainment, Beanox, Demonware, Digital Legends, High Moon Studios, Infinity Ward, King, Major League Gaming, Radical Entertainment, Ravensoft, Sledgehammer Games, Toys for Bob, Treyarch, and every team across Activision Blizzard. I swear that's all of them, but until this transaction closes, Activision Blizzard and Microsoft Gaming will continue to operate independently. Once the deal is complete, the Activision Blizzard business will report to me as CEO under Microsoft Gaming. That, of course, CEO is Phil Spencer, as this is coming from his office. Upon close, we will offer as many Activision Blizzard games as we can within Xbox Game Pass, PC Game Pass, both new titles and games from Activision Blizzard's incredible catalog. We also announced today that Game Pass has more than 25 million subscribers. We might have to come back to that. As always, we look forward to continuing to add more value and great games to Game Pass. The fantastic franchise across Activision Blizzard will also accelerate our plans for cloud gaming, allowing more people in more places around the world to participate in the Xbox community using phones, tablets, laptops, and other devices you already own. Activision Blizzard games are already enjoyed on a variety of platforms. We plan to continue to support those communities moving forward. As a company, Microsoft is committed to our journey for inclusion of every aspect of gaming among both employees and players. We deeply value individual studio cultures. I said creatures, I don't know why. Studio cultures. We also believe that creative success and autonomy go hand in hand with treating every person with dignity and respect. We hold all teams and all leaders to this commitment. We are looking forward to extending our culture of proactive inclusion to the great teams across Activision Blizzard. Around the world, there is no more exciting venue for fun, connection than video games, and there has never been a time to play than right now. As we extend the joy and community of gaming to everyone, we look forward to welcoming all of our friends at Activision Blizzard to Microsoft Gaming, and of course we get there a nice gaming leadership, which shows the current team with Phil Spencer, of course, being the CEO of Microsoft Gaming, and a whole plethora of people there. It's interesting. We have Matt Booty, who we talked about might be the successor. He's under the CVP of Xbox Game Studios, and then Sarah Bond, who is also a possible replacement for Phil, is gaming ecosystem organizer. It's interesting though when you look at all of that, and there's definitely diversity, right? You see a lot of females, you see people of different ethnicities, sexes, ethnicity, and so far of cultures. It's a good thing, right? That's what you want to see. Variety is amongst that. All right, so we're going to just, for right now, Beards, you woke up, you saw this. You kind of gave us a little bit of idea. Tell me more. What was going through your mind when you first saw this news and you heard about this?
It's so much trolling on the internet that, I thought it was a troll at first.
Mm-hmm.
And, because everybody's always doing the Microsoft bought this person tweets all the time. And then I'm like, I saw Jason Schreier, and I'm like, okay, so there's some meat behind it, but I guess it's one of those things where we won't see anything until proof of it till maybe a couple of months down the line. But then all of a sudden, the main Xbox account posts this article, but then they pull it, so then it makes me think it's a mistake. But then they post it again, and I'm like, wow. And I still was blown back for a couple of minutes because I was like, am I reading it right? And I'm like, shit, I am. I'm like, that's fucking insane. So I'm like, they were already not just all the incredible studios they already picked up themselves, but the powerhouse of studios they picked up under the ZeniMax deal, and now they have all these guys. It's and they plan to treat them like every other studio to allow them to make games how they want to make games with no so it's I'm like, man, we we got there's an amazing chance for the companies to have a rebirth period and climb to the glory they were once at one point in time. Hopefully, anyway. I was surprised as hell when I first saw it.
Yeah, and I have up here now all the first-party studios when you think about it, right? It's broken down between Xbox Game Studios, Bethesda, Activision, Blizzard. It's a lot. It's a lot, right? Yeah. Microsoft is definitely becoming the conglomerate for gaming. And one thing I didn't bring up, and I guess we'll kind of bring in, we'll have to remember to circle back to it, was I remember a while back when they were talking to Phil and they were talking about, gaming wars, console wars, and Phil was like, dude, like paraphrasing, he's basically saying like he doesn't even look at Nintendo and Sony as competition. He looked at, Google and Amazon, and everybody's like, what the hell are you talking about? Sales of hardware, this and that and the other. But Phil took the idea of what Xbox and gaming is so far past what console gaming is, right? And when I first saw this, and I was like, huh. And it took a while for my brain to cycle through all of it, but it made sense to me, right? Microsoft, this is the second purchase that Microsoft has made of a company when they were in dire straits, I guess you could say. What's up, GNS? Say hello to GNS who entered the chat here on twitch.tv. What's up?
Hey, GNS.
Hey. So I understand, from my standpoint, I understand the at the time when they bought Bethesda, right? Bethesda was a horrible company, but Bethesda at the time had a lot of lawsuits on them from the what franchise? Fallout franchise. They had issues where they were promising certain things they weren't. The whole charging people for battle pass and and all this other garbage that they were going through. And at the time, the company wasn't in as bad of shape as Activision is right now, right? But they were definitely, on the low brow. They were definitely heading down, right? And then Microsoft came in, bought the company, gave them an influx of cash, at least from a development standpoint, right? Not looking at ZeniMax and shareholders, but at least from a development standpoint, now allows a lot of those developers to go off and make what they want to make and do what they want to do, supposedly, right? We don't know what happens behind closed doors. We don't know what projects are getting slammed shut. We don't know. We don't have insight to that unless, we could find people who work in that industry. But outside of, at least from our standpoint, the autonomy is that the companies are still there. They're still working. They're still making and doing stuff, and they're getting more. You could say more backing, right, from Microsoft. They're all in. They're giving them more staffing. They're increasing their their staff, and giving more studios to help work on the projects and so forth. So from that standpoint, at least from Bethesda's standpoint, we see a lot of positive from that acquisition. I'm expecting the same thing from the Blizzard. I'm happy with what I'm seeing. And immediately I look at Blizzard and I'm like, yeah, it's the same thing. They're on a downward spiral. Microsoft now is infusing money. Hopefully, like you said, they could get back, like companies like Blizzard, right, could get back to where they used to be. Yes, the talent's not there. You've discussed it many times with Rare. Rare never ascended to what they were back when they were working, with Nintendo and so forth. They've never been that rare, but that's the talent. Once the talent is gone, right, you can only become whatever new talent you get. So we see the new Rare, we see a lot of the games, but still some issues. But that's based on like I said before, talent. Not to reiterate it again. So I was happy when I saw this. I think at least from a development standpoint, I think this is going to be a good thing. And we'll get into later, but from shareholder standpoint, get Kotick the fuck out of there. But I think that's what a lot of people are hoping for. Get Kotick the fuck out of there.
Yeah. No more Kotick.
No more Kotick. We'll see. We'll talk about that. That's one of the topics going into it. Real quickly, let's go into speaking of Kotick. Of course, once this happened, Kotick then sent out an email to all of his employees, at least the ones that haven't, who were there to receive it, that aren't, on strike at the moment. I hate to say it, I know no shade, but we know Kotick now is going to report directly to Phil Spencer as CEO, right? So he now has a boss that's not shareholders, so to say. He literally has a boss under Phil now. So this is literally the letter that he sent out to his Activision workers. Team, today is an incredible, exciting day as we continue our journey to connect and engage the world through epic entertainment. We will eventually do so as part of Microsoft. I'm certain that our incredible talent, extraordinary games, combined with our shared commitment to the very best workplace, will enable us to grow in an increasingly more competitive race for leadership as gaming through the metaverse evolves. Here's that term, metaverse is coming back. Him and his Facebook. How we got here and where we're going. When you reflect on what we've built together, we have so much to be proud of. For the last 31 years, we've continuously shaped gaming through our commitment to deliver joy, fun, and a thrill of accomplishment. We've transformed games into social experiences and enabled players to find purpose and meaning through the most engaging form of entertainment, our games. By doing so, we've created and entertained communities of hundreds of millions of players. Connecting these communities together is the next step. Facebook, Google, Tencent, NetEase, Amazon, Apple, Sony, Disney, and many more have ambitions for their own gaming and metaverse initiatives. Established and emerging competitors see opportunity for virtual worlds filled with professionally produced content, user-generated content, and rich social connections. Our talent and our games are important components of this construction of a rich metaverse. We have always attracted the very best game makers and built the very best games, seizing opportunity with passion, inspiration, focus, and determination. Please, Beers, I know you're laughing. Let's try to make it through this. A partnership to define the future. I'll let you comment in a moment. As investments in cloud computing, AI, machine learning, data analytics, and user interface and experience capabilities are becoming more competitive, we believe this partnership will better enable our ambitions. In considering possible partners, all roads ultimately led to Microsoft. Like us, they have been making games for a long time. Microsoft has already distributed games to hundreds of millions of the world's computers and computing devices, and has technologies and innovations that will support the next generation of games. Microsoft will also support our journey to further strengthen our culture. Satya Nadella, Microsoft CEO, has been passionate advocate for caring as the currency of leadership. Inspiring people through empathy is a powerful motivator, and one we embrace as we renew our resolve, oh my goodness, and the work we are now doing to set a new standard for welcoming and inclusive workspace culture. I'm starting to think that Microsoft wrote this. Importantly, Microsoft wants you, your talent, your creativity, and your dedication to each other. Activision Blizzard's success throughout the years can be directly attributed to each of you. Microsoft recognizes the commitment to excellence and creative independence that sets us apart, and we anticipate minimum changes for our workplace following the close of the transaction. Microsoft diverse operations will give us access to valuable expertise, technology, and tools, provide even greater opportunities for learning and development. No organization culture, including ours, is without a need for improvement, and thanks to your input, we are making strides to improving ours. My commitment is to continue evolving our culture, so that come closing, Microsoft is acquiring an exemplary workplace. What's next? Transactions like these can take a long time to complete until we receive the necessary regulatory approvals and the customary closing conditions are satisfied, which we expect to be sometime in Microsoft fiscal 2023, year ending June 30th, 2023. We will continue to operate complete autonomously. I will continue as your CEO with the same passion and enthusiasm I had when I began this amazing journey back in 1991. Of course, this announcement will give rise to so many questions. We will host numerous forums and events to make certain we address your concerns. I am incredibly proud of this company, you, and the work we have done together. Now it's on to our next chapter and the endless possibilities this transaction represents for us. I couldn't be more appreciative of your efforts, focus, and dedication to connecting the world through joy and fun with gratitude. Bobby, Beers, how you feel about this letter? It's a long letter. How do you...
That shit was fucking long. Should have cliff noted that shit.
I should have. I should have, but my gosh.
Like,
how do you feel about this letter? Do you get BS from this as much as I do?
Yes, I was laughing through it. Before I give my thoughts,
remember, we're not talking about Bobby Kotick, whether he's going to be here. That'll be another section, but good to you.
Over to the chat, GNS was like, I hope that these other studios are able to create other franchises besides the ones that they already work on.
We will be talking about that. We will be talking about that, yes.
I feel that this letter was like him trying to still submit himself in part of the as part of the company, using all the language that he used, specifically the big bold points of we, him trying to say like it's a partnership, him acting like this was this was something that he was leading to when he's like all roads led to Microsoft. And I also feel that like the snake that he is, him including other gaming companies and other platforms, is his way of saying, guys, I'm open for hiring. Yourself is so great.
Oh,
fucking
man.
Trash can, man.
Yeah, I looked at this, and we'll get into it in a moment. This is the next section. We'll talk about the unfortunately a lot of the issues with Activision, which is after this. But yeah, man, I saw nothing but BS. And when I first heard about it, the first thing that came to my mind is, well, at least Kotick's out, and then it's like, no, he's still there, at least for right now. We'll talk about whether or not, he'll still be there a little bit later, but I mean, you got employees already that are on strike. You got all these issues, and you're making it look like everything has been rosy and perfect. Like, come on, man, be honest.
Yep.
Send out a letter. You don't have to say. You could put out a letter that says, I know we've had issues in the past, but in order to help better the experience for everyone, the only decision was to do this, right? Something. Something that says, yeah, we understand the issues that we made. This is still a great company. We made issues, but through Microsoft we could be better, right? Make it. But instead, this motherfucker's like, yeah, man, I've been here for 31 years. This shit's been the best. I've been looking at the future, the metaverse, the whole Facebook metaverse, and under my leadership, we're going to be great. That's why we got bought out, and now Microsoft, even though we got bought out, that's what this was all leading to. Get the fuck out of here,
This is all
man.
part of the plan.
Get the
Under
fuck
my
out.
leadership,
Yeah.
we had the worst scandal in gaming.
Exactly.
So bad that the government authorities had to get involved.
Exactly. The government had to come. The state of California had to come in. Oh my god, dude. Oh my god. Get the fuck out of
All
here.
Sexual harassment, all part of the plan for the metaverse.
Oh my god, dude.
This fucker, man.
I know. So, quick question for you: Do you remember when rumors first started about Microsoft buying Activision? I don't
There
remember.
was something that we had.
Go ahead.
There was none. I know it was something that we discussed. Like, all I know was all the insiders that I normally listen to, like Dealer, Colt, Jez Corden, Jeffrey Grubb, who even Kloberville, who always seemed to be like, even Dealer himself was like, I was surprised by this. I haven't heard anything. He was like, I actually woke up to it surprised like the rest of y'all. So
Yeah.
that caught me right there. Like, he did this like deep, like he did this like underneath of everything, like deep cover, like no leaks or anything like that.
Yeah, so it's interesting, right? Because I mean, when we were thinking about actual acquisitions, most of us here thought Warner Brothers, right? Warner Brothers is the best one, but then there's a whole lot of this whole Warner, AT&T, Warner Brothers, and Discovery. Who owns the rights to Warner Brothers content? And if Microsoft bought it, did they even own the rights to the games and stuff? Does it stay with Discovery? Does it go? There's a lot of. No one knew what was going to happen, right? And I thought that, by buying Warner Brothers was good. You were getting, the group Monolith, who does a lot of the Lord of the Rings games. You're getting NetherRealm, who does a lot of fighting games. So you got somebody to do your Kill or Instinct games. You had a plethora of different studios that will help backfill a lot of, your other studios, which you were lacking in a lot of your other studios, right? And I thought that was the better choice. But I mean, you can't go wrong with Activision, right? You with Activision, you're getting one of the you're getting some of the hottest titles around, right? You're getting one of the best and hottest, even though it's going down, right? Even though Final Fantasy is kicking their butt and is still high up there. But let's not kid ourselves, right? World of Warcraft is still raking in tons of money. Whether a lot of the people are exiting or not, it's still raking in tons and tons of money, right? You got the Diablo franchise now, and you get pretty much one of the biggest franchise in terms of gaming of all time in Call of Duty. Right, like it's so much you're getting out of it, and then also now you're even getting mobile gaming. You're getting King of Candy Crush, right? You got Blizzard, like one of the most iconic PC companies out there, right? Basically Riot before Riot. Even though they're a lot of these companies are still are shells of themselves, but still you got all their properties, you're still getting the name, you're still getting the company, right? And you could turn this ship around. So I was like, yeah, but you want to hear something that's very interesting?
What's that?
When Phil first came out, and we're going to bring up an old article. Phil came out in November, and Phil was talking about Activision Blizzard, and it was in terms of him talking about, remember, with all the sexual allegations. Phil came out. Yeah, Phil came out first and said it, and then I think the guy from Sony came out, and everybody was talking about how Activision, you're this whole sexual misconduct thing, and we shouldn't have these relationships. But it's weird when you look at it now, right? With these eyes, it almost looks like they were in talks back then, right? It says in an internal Microsoft email obtained by Bloomberg, Spencer says he's evaluating all aspects of our relationships with Activision Blizzard, making ongoing proactive adjustments. Additionally, Spencer stated he's disturbed and deeply troubled by horrific events and actions by Activision Blizzard, right? And then I don't know if you remember, but it's like weird, like how he came out and how he was talking about them. When you go back and look at it, we thought it was just him, just talking about it, just giving his 2 cents. But it makes me wonder, even back then, if they were in talks.
Oh, I think so.
Yeah.
Especially how much red tape you gotta go through all this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
They were probably in the beginning of the talks right then and there, or like at least midway through it.
Yeah, I agree, and it's interesting. I believe it was the guy with Take-Two. He did an interview. I mean, it's nothing new, right? But it was very interesting. It was definitely very interesting. But before we
One
go,
correction I did want to make is that Jim Ryan actually came out and said something towards them first.
Oh, he did come out first before him. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
okay. So it was Jim Ryan. Gotcha. So one thing I did want to talk about is, if we're going to talk about Activision, everybody knows the greatness of games that Activision has, but let's go over some of the horrible stuff. Once again, let's reiterate a lot of it, right? And we covered a lot of this on the show. A lot of the fuckery, which is Activision, so to say. And this is even the first. You remember this one? Even GNS was here. GNS was on the show and talking about this with us. The Activision, when they reported, they got like one of their biggest returns, most profitable return, and they were still going to let go, still another, I think it was like 200 employees. Yeah, it was like 200 employees, and then like a year or two ago, they let go of like another, high amount of employees too. I remember we were talking about this, like what the fuck? It was like Kotick is making all this money, and they're still firing people, right? They laid off nearly 190 employees, including 50 employees from the company's esports division. All right, and this was during the time that COVID was here, and a lot of their people were home. They were gaming a lot, and we said, okay, yeah, like something like esports, we kind of understand, right? Because with COVID, you can't go in to arenas and stuff like that. But as we go even further into it, like we look at things like Toys for Bob, right? How they weren't even allowed to make other games. Remember this one? Like the people who make Crash Bandicoot, they weren't allowed to make a new Spyro game or a Skylanders game. Instead, they were ripped off to go work on Call of Duty Warzone. You remember this, right? They lost, and then this is
into a support studio.
Exactly, it turned into a support studio, and they had layoffs because of it. So they lost people that were being used to make newer games, and instead they were put on as a support studio for Call of Duty instead of making actual games. For Activision. Mm-hmm. You remember this, right? You remember all this stuff.
I do. It's crazy.
You remember the sexual allegations? Over 44, people have been disciplined. Over 30 people kicked out of Activision. Remember, Blizzard in Blizzard, they had to change McCree.
Studios did it.
Yeah, it was multiple studios. They had to take McCree and change his name because it was named after one of the developers who was sexual allegations. It was all over Diablo. Multiple studios. All these, the Bill Cosby rooms,
the Cosby Suite.
Yeah, all of this garbage, man. Like just all of this garbage.
Oh. And let's not forget that Kotick himself was calling people with death threats and shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Man, I was like, yo, what type of world do we live in?
Yeah, and the last but not least, the most recent thing as of December, because of a lot of these, I remember we were talking about California had to step in for all these sexual allegations and so forth, and now, just recently in December, they had a walkout of over 200 employees, ranging from coming from Activision Blizzard, employees from the Call of Duty teams and so forth, where they literally had a walkout. Raven Studios, they just had a walkout because of all the bullshit that they were dealing with. So, looking at all of this horrible stuff, as Microsoft, how do you go into buying this, seeing all this stuff, and think, how do you turn this around? And I'm going to go to you, Beers. Like, do you look at this as, oh, we're just buying the properties, we don't care about turning this around? Or what's your plans for actually turning this around? So that way, because already a lot of people are jaded. GNS, amongst other people, and I've said it too, a lot of people are, I was going to say bootlegging, boycotting, Call of Duty and other games because of this stuff, right? They want a culture change. A lot of these newer generations are more, and I hate to use the term woke, but they realize and they understand more of what's happening, and they like to, protest, until they see changes, So from a Microsoft standpoint, understanding all this horrible stuff, how do you change this culture?
Man, that's a tough one. Like,
yeah.
I was still trying to think of that about that myself. I guess the first thing you got to do, well, one thing I will put out there is that like a lot of actual current employees have actually been tweeting that they are happy with this outcome. That a lot of them are actually morale's actually boosting because like they, based on how Microsoft has been treating their other studios, a lot of them feel that like that they're in good hands now at least. So that's a good thing to hear, that there's plenty of current workers who are tweeting and like
studios talk
behind the scenes, to say that like they're feeling happy about the current situation. So at least that part's already taken care of. But like, I guess the first thing you got to do is you have to come down tough. You can't compromise. Like even if they're like a super talent, if they were doing fuckery, you just gotta let them go. Like no warnings, no, we're gonna put you on probation. No, you out. Like you have to like let them know for hard hand that like you're in a different company now. So all the fuckery that was happening before, it's not gonna happen under us. You go ahead and you evaluate the hard workers and everybody who was doing well and stuff like that. You restructure the teams, you budget them so they can add back to produce their falling numbers, and then just like the previous studios, you basically let them work on what they want to work on. You don't like you take away your hey, outside of the battle royale free game that's of course going to be continuously going, how about you not make a call? We're not gonna make you. We're not gonna turn Call of Duty into Madden anymore. So you actually have some time to work on it and actually make the game that you want to make, like that sort of stuff. So I feel that would be the. I feel that. I guess the only thing I'm getting around to is basically saying that your best thing to do is to increase the morale of your workers, get them back to building up what their work culture is, and allow them to not only feel secure in their jobhood, but also make it feel like it's a place that they want to come back to work again because they can be creative, take a few risks, and it's no more a money machine that's going to pump out quantity over quality.
Okay. I like that answer. I agree with you in that sense. When I look at it, I look at it with different eyes. Well, not different eyes per se. I look at it like this. Microsoft is a hated company.
They are.
No matter how much good that they try to do, they're very hated, and it's something that always baffled me. Like I remember when they first announced the Xbox, I'm sitting here thinking, I'm like, as Americans who are always about patriotism and made in America, and American pride, and all this other bullshit, why are you so supportive of a Japanese system more so than a system from your own country? Like that, I never understood that, right? Why so many people have so much, patriotism and love more for, Japanese systems. But I'm like, they grew up on it. Maybe that's the case. Mm-hmm. But Microsoft is so despised as a company. And, I'm not saying that's not without reason, right? Bill Gates is probably one of the most evilest men, at least looked upon as one of the most evilest men in the world. And, he's not even with the company really anymore, right? He's just sitting back collecting shares. He doesn't really, do much of anything with Microsoft. He's doing whatever the heck he wants to do, right? But, it's still associated to him by name, right? And I remember watching the Microsoft documentary, and it's like a joke, and they're like, when we're making a new console, Microsoft is the one detriment to us making a new console. If it was like named like the Nintendo box and not Microsoft Xbox, it will probably sell. Like how do we sell Microsoft without saying it's Microsoft? So, that stigma has been there for a very, very long time. So, but when you think about other hated companies, you get EA and Activision, top of the list, right? EA is probably up there for most hated, but after all this stuff, Activision is probably up there, firing employees consistently after making tons and tons of money. This whole sexual allegation stuff, the Bill Cosby romance. I go back to that, like wow, all this stuff, and a lot of it, coming from Kotick, right? A lot of people, point their fingers at Kotick because he's the man in charge of all the stuff. So I'm trying to think of how do you change culture, right? And even though Microsoft and Game Pass and a lot of stuff is may not be the most loved thing by everybody, I think from the price and what they offer it comes to a point where some people they can't help but spend the money and try it, right? And fall in love with it, whether you're a Sony fan or not, whether you just have a PC or just a tablet, what they offer you, at least as of right now, is well above the price that they charge. And I think from that standpoint, Game Pass is slowly changing views on Microsoft and how Microsoft is. And I think as we start to see more games coming from these groups under Microsoft, I think the persona of Microsoft will change, right? And I think that's what's going to happen with a lot of Activision, Blizzard groups under Microsoft. I think you're going to still have that stigma, like Gina says, I've literally been boycotting them. I think you're going to still have that, but as they start to see, and it's going to take time, as they start to see changes, right? Now, maybe Overwatch 2 comes out, and instead of it just being a campaign, they literally overhaul all of Overwatch 2 and actually make it an actual series, right? An actual game, full game, right? And maybe it doesn't cost money. Maybe it is just in Game Pass, or maybe it's free to play with something else, something different, right? Where people, it changes the outcome and doesn't look like a cash grab, right? You start to remove some of the stuff from WoW, where WoW, you take away like subscriptions and other things from WoW, and you make it more accessible and not make it feel like it's a cash grab, right? A lot of the old retro stuff, you give the tools to people to make that, right? You create servers for them, allow them to do it, and they can make choices, right? Maybe Microsoft has servers, and you allow your users to say up to what version of WoW do you want to play classic WoW to, up to what expansion. You allow people to rent servers and do all that stuff, and you maintain the servers, but you allow them to make that choice. And now all of a sudden, instead of being cash grabs and other things, now you start to build back, with a lot of the community, a lot of the respect and stuff that they want, right? Because when you look at Blizzard and games beforehand, it was just shady, some of the stuff they were doing, right? It would shut down other people who were doing, retro versions better than them, and they give you poor half-ass retro versions of Warcraft 3. Diablo 2 was probably one of the better ones, but it still had issues. But it's so much more, right? And I think under Microsoft, when they give the development teams the backing through money and financing and allow them to creatively do what they want to actually do, then we get something more. Now, I don't know, I'm sure there's limits to it, right? Because we could go back and look at 343 with like wanting to do a Halo MMO and all this other stuff. But maybe now with Blizzard being there, now they have a lot more different tools. Maybe now you could do more cross-team, pollinization or talking or whatever you want to call it, right? And you allow them now to start making those things. So maybe they didn't want to invest the money in terms of trying to figure out how to build an MMO infrastructure, but now that you have Blizzard over there and the World of Warcraft team, now you can now use that team, or at least parts and the knowledge of that team or that system, to now build that, that Halo Infinite MMO. There's so much more, right, that comes from it. So I'm hoping that from this, you get more, right, from it. And And going back to negatives, did you want to say one more thing before I go to the next topic?
Oh, I was just saying that maybe World of Warcraft will get its first huge graphical update since the day I was born.
You're funny. You're funny.
Maybe they'll finally have graphics to match the new updated MMOs that are out there right now.
You're funny. But we'll go back to it, right? You talk about getting rid of the people that cause the toxicity and issues. So that brings us up to our next topic, which is Kotick. What happens to Bobby Kotick afterwards, right? What happens to the man who led the ship, steered the ship to where it is right now, Bobby Kotick. So real quickly, Bobby Kotick did do an interview with I believe it was Bloomberg or another group, right? And they asked him a lot of questions about it. But the one thing I wanted to highlight was thinking about Bobby, what happens to Bobby now and then after the merger, right? So GameBeat says, what do you think of reporting to Phil? What might you think about doing next once the deal is done? And his retirement, one of your thoughts? To which Kotick responded, right now my focus is just staying CEO and running the business. And I think you probably could tell from the stock price, there's still a long way between now and getting a deal approved and all the regulatory issues. So I'm still going to be first focused on running the business. What I told Microsoft is, I care so much about this company that whatever role they want me to have in making sure that we integrate the business and we get the proper and smooth transition, I am willing to do. However much time it takes, if it's a month after the close, if it's a year after that, I just care that the transition goes well. Reporting to Phil is easy thing to do. He's a great guy, and we have a great relationship. And if I have to do that, I'm happy to do that. All I care about is making sure that the transition and the integration goes well. So from there, Beards, everything like we said has come back to Kotick, right? To the board trying to get rid of him, not being able to get rid of him, asking for more time to get everything fixed. Maybe Kotick was on the phone with Microsoft, maybe trying to make this acquisition. We don't know. What's your thoughts? As Microsoft, do you think you have to get rid of Kotick if you want to redo it? Yeah, you said fuck yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah. Like all your stuff about like getting rid of the the bad culture and everything like that. It means nothing if you keep one of the main abusers and enablers as up in a high position of power in the company. Like unless you're gonna drop him down to some sort of paper pusher who has no sort of power, but not even that, he shouldn't be in the company at all. Unless that comes from somebody over Phil, I don't see it happening. And even if it does come from somebody over him, that would be stupid on their part. So I personally feel that as soon as this deal goes through, he's going to resign to walk away with the millions that are built into his fucking contract. So he's going to walk away from money, and he's going to try to make it look like he received an offer somewhere else. So he can walk away without egg on his face, without being fired or let go. And then 2K will hire him.
Wow. Really? Wow. Okay.
I'll be like, oh, we like your kind over here.
Yeah. We're talking about the man who once talked about making Guitar Hero accessible through Facebook gaming.
And that is the future of gaming.
Yep. Yeah, Kotick, I'll say this much, right? They've been very profitable under him, but in terms of being one to better the culture, to get the most out of your development group, he's been very. It feels like he's been very toxic, at least from all the information that I've read. And I'm with you. If you're Microsoft, I think day one, the moment everything is done, Kotick has to go. I don't think Kotick has a place under your inclusive, community, as you want to call it. I don't see that, and I don't know if I'm looking at other people within his organization if they want to work with Kotick. I don't think if you're a developer and your teams are already doing walkouts, if they still want to continue under Kotick.
Exactly.
Right? The company and the development groups and employees have already shown, right? And a lot of their stuff that they've been walking out, how they want it resolved was they wanted Kotick out. These were things that they asked for. They wanted him fired. So I can't see, for right now, Kotick does his song and dance. And as you stated before, I'm with you. I think that Microsoft, unfortunately, hands him a bag. And he goes off peacefully in his yacht to go do whatever the hell his next venture is.
To go work for 2K.
God, stop wishing that on us, man.
Yo, they're already fucking up Rockstar. This will be the icing on the cake for them. Like if you just dropped a $70 billion investment to boost up your gaming services, and you're looking at a long run investment, are you really gonna keep around this guy who is basically the mascot for every fucking thing that went wrong in the company? If you are, that'll be the most dumbest decision I've ever heard. Unless it's like the only way I can see this happening is he has some type of legal binding, and it's a contract that protects him in his contract that they can't get around and kick him out. That is the only way I see him still sticking with this company.
Damn shame. All right, so before we close out, let's go to our last topic for discussion in this short stream.
Before you go, you want to get the comments up?
Oh yes, I would definitely look at it. Gina says, "I hope Sony would buy Rockstar." Interesting. So GNS wants Sony to buy Rockstar.
Yeah, it's the same thing I said about this acquisition. I feel the same way about Rockstar currently. Like as long as it's Microsoft, Sony, or Tencent, like I do not want Amazon buying them because they'll just strip the company down and destroy it. So like as long as one of those three companies buy it, I'll be perfectly fine with that. So I was glad that these guys got it.
I kind of question that now, right? After seeing the information coming from the game from the
Japan studios?
Yeah, not only the Japan studios, but from the guys over, I guess, in Europe that made Days Gone. Seeing how Sony treats them and a lot of this stuff. I kind of question that, right?
Good point.
I don't know what's in Sony's mind in terms of what they're trying to do. But definitely under Jim Ryan, I don't think Jim Ryan's steering that ship into the right direction. And a lot of things that people are saying, they're like, oh, if you think this is big, wait till you hear what comes out later this week. And a lot of people are thinking acquisitions and stuff as the big news. I think after this purchase, I think the big news might be?
What's that?
That Microsoft and Game Pass is coming to Sony. And that Game Pass will include Sony first-party titles.
So, Project Spartacus.
Yeah, I think
Project Trojan.
I think that one of the things that Sony's going to probably announce is probably Game Pass on the Xbox. I mean on the PlayStation. Oh. And I think through announcing Game Pass that they're going to allow them to still continue to get a Call of Duty and a lot of these other titles. Plus, you'll probably get Halo and other big titles on Sony systems.
I mean, would that finally quiet all the Xbox hate on Twitter?
No, I doubt it. But I think, because right now, here's the problem with, and I know this is all about Microsoft, but just not to go off the course, but the problem with Sony is, I think that Sony is realizing things too late, and I kind of alluded to that earlier when I was talking about how Phil was saying that Amazon and Google are the true competitors. Sony is still in the mindset of like Nintendo, where you can release a generational console, you make a whole bunch of money, but it won't. Consoles won't matter as technology improves, right? Microsoft is already looking at giving people fucking flash drive key fobs to put into your TVs, or at least have a TV with an Xbox, application that already plays the games, and you don't even need consoles, right? Or just having your phone and having your phone directly connect to your TV, or your tablet connect to your TV, or maybe even your cable box or your Amazon stick, and that shoots and plays the games for you, right? It loads it up there for you. So it's like they're looking at a future where you don't need consoles. So if you're Sony, you don't have a real cloud infrastructure as of yet. Like you have one, but it's not where it should be. What do you do, right? You're behind. We've already known Microsoft and Sony already made deals beforehand, before the new next-gen system started, in order to help them with their cloud infrastructure, right? So I think only the big name that you're going to see is that you're going to probably start to see where a lot of these Sony backwards compatible games, like you're seeing PS3 now on the PS5, in their libraries and stuff. You're going to see a lot of that stuff now coming from Microsoft. And I think Microsoft is going to be the leader, or at least the supplier for Sony. So I think the next big news that you're going to hear is not an acquisition, but you're going to hear that Xbox Live is coming to Sony. And that's just me. That's my prediction. It doesn't hurt them. It doesn't hurt them. Yes, thank you, Gina. So glad you hear it. It doesn't hurt them at all.
Oh, it doesn't. It doesn't at all.
It doesn't, right? And it's something better. It's a betterment for both of them.
Yeah, that would be a huge. I think some gamers would just end up, their heads would explode if one actually came out. But yeah, I do think that would be a smart decision on both of them.
Yeah,
I mean, hell,
we got.
even if they announced that.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Finish your thought.
Oh, I was just saying, even if they announced that the Game Pass was finally coming to Nintendo Switch, I think that would be a huge,
Yeah.
a super huge announcement. Also,
Yeah. I mean, we already got MLB The Show, which is a Sony game, first party game on the Xbox last year, right? I mean, it only makes sense to do this. Only other big thing would be that Google Stadia or Amazon does something big, right? Where they made a deal with Steam or with Sony or something to bring their stuff, or that Sony and Steam will, that they'll automatically bring all their games to Steam. But even if you do all that, that's still not as big as Microsoft, this big acquisition, right? Because Microsoft still sells games on Steam. You can still buy it, or you could buy back Game Pass, or per month and just rent them or play them however you want to play them, right? And Jada says fanboys died. They already are, man. They already are. So we're going to go with the last statement. And this comes in terms of what do you think comes out of this, Beers, in terms of Game Pass, in terms of what games become multi-platform, what remains exclusive. So if everything goes through, right, the government doesn't shut down this acquisition, from basically Blizzard's lineup, how do you think everything plays out going forward in terms of what stays multi-platform, what goes exclusive?
I think all battle royal games and like card games and anything of that nature will stay multi-platform. As far as the Call of Duties go, I think the battle royal stay multi-platform, and I think campaigns will become Game Pass exclusive. I also feel that we may see something along the lines of they may actually, since they have the time now, they may actually work towards making a console version of World of Warcraft. And I'm also, even though ImSoft has been mostly about choice under fill, so I think it's going to be interesting if people can now get World of Warcraft for just signing up under Game Pass, as opposed to actually so you're going to get the benefit of all the games and services, as opposed to just paying the $14.99 fee just to subscribe to it. But I actually think your idea is better, like them actually considering switching it to a free to play model to actually make it more accessible to everyone. But we'll see where they go at with that. But those are what I think. That's what I think is going to happen with these particular games. I would like to. I don't know if Jeff Kaplan is done with gaming altogether, or if he's moved on to make his own studio. But it would be nice if they could actually bring him back and let him complete his vision for Overwatch. It'd be great if he could come back and actually make his original vision, which was Titan, which sounded insane. So if he could come back and do Titan, like who knows what avenues that'll open up. And lastly, I say that Microsoft has to keep on buying before Fortnite buys them, and that's
yeah. For Fortnite buys them, that's fine. But yeah, I think we have a lot of the same ideas from this acquisition. I believe, and I discussed it as I discussed with you earlier. I think something like Call of Duty, right? Warzone remains multi-platform. You get to play it on everything. I don't think Call of Duty Warzone goes away. I think that the Call of Duty, if you do a Call of Duty games, the ones with the traditional multiplayer and the campaigns probably come to Microsoft first, and are Microsoft exclusive. Actually, you know what? Maybe multiplayer goes free to play, right? Maybe they put together multiplayer and the BR free to play, and they just do yearly updates and they do seasons and battle passes for their money for it, similar to what they do with the Warzone now. And then maybe new features. They have different seasonal, so like one for like a month or 3 months. They add zombies to it, right? And you have a zombie seasonal thing, and everybody plays all the zombie modes, and that goes away. And then just like they're doing the Attack on Titan, maybe that's for like another 3 months, maybe they do something like that, and then the story campaign of it becomes its own standalone thing, and it's included in Game Pass. or you could buy
Maybe.
it free, not buy it free, but buy it for like a cheaper price of like maybe like $20-$30 for a single campaign, and it lasts maybe for 10 hours, right? You get the Call of Duty campaign that lasts 10 hours, and you go through it and you play it as a single player game. I think from World of Warcraft standpoint, I think the best thing to do would be to bring it under Game Pass, the subscription portion of it. So that way, with people who are paying for the same price of the subscription, they get Game Pass instead. They still get World of Warcraft, and they still and they get a lot more, games and stuff. I think that only makes sense to them, at least as a person, to do that. Especially if you're getting if you're subscribing to World of Warcraft and you get a whole boatload of games. I think also that Microsoft. Maybe not within 2023, but maybe in 2024 and 2025, that BattleNet becomes maybe the delivery system for all Game Pass games. So they take BattleNet and they basically put everything through BattleNet instead of their own system, so that BattleNet now becomes the delivery system. And other stuff, like other things, I think will still remain pretty much the same. But when you look at the different games, like let me see, who do we have here? Toys for Bob. I think Crash Bandicoot, like they're doing Crash Bandicoot 4 or the next Crash Bandicoot now. That comes out on all games. Does Crash Bandicoot and Spiral and all them become Xbox exclusives? I can see that. Like them no longer doing it. Maybe they'll come to, like Conquer and Banjo-Kazooie, they still come to Nintendo. But I don't see them going to to Sony, right? Same thing with all their other games. I think that a lot of their other games now going forward are just exclusive. I mean, you don't pay $70 million for these big games to keep them the same, right? You want to have games that, and even if they aren't exclusive, you want to have exclusivity of certain things first, right? So where before, when Xbox first started and all the new Call of Duty stuff was coming to Xbox first for the first month or two, and then came to the other platforms, and now PlayStation's doing that now, it reverts back, right? So now it's definitely coming to Game Pass first month and then everywhere else. So I see a lot of it staying the same, but Microsoft, I think, is definitely going to do what they need to do. I mean, it's almost $70 million. Not every game's going to do it. But if you got something like Diablo 4, I can almost tell you right now, Diablo 4 right now is most likely going to be Xbox Game Pass day one and PC. You know, and probably a mobile for phone. You're not going to probably see Diablo 4 coming out on PlayStation 5 unless there's already a contract there for it.
Agreed.
So, that's just the way I look at it now, right? So, and I mean, there's still games, that are just PC only. I mean, Microsoft released Age of Empires just for the PC. They never pulled it out on the Xbox. It's just still PC only. So I think you're still going to see those, PC only games. They'll wind up, afterwards, spawn it, porting it over. But at least as of right now, no. So, Beards, that concludes pretty much all this stuff. And yes, multi-platform, sir. And GNS real quickly says, I think all the existing franchise will stay multi is mistype, multi-platform, and then new games that the studios will be exclusive. Good idea, GNS. I agree with you there.
No, man. You've changed the meta. From now on, we say emoji platform around here.
Yeah, the metaverse. So, Beers, big news, man. Big news. Anything else you want to add before we close out, sir?
Oh no, it was good to come on here, and I'm just excited to see what's heading forward. I do want to say that I feel that I know they're going to keep on adding acquisitions, but I feel at this point you should probably slow down. I feel that at this point going forward, besides trying to get two Asian studios, either Korean and Chinese or Korean and Japanese studio, I feel outside of that, you should just have your global studios continue making smaller deals and actually get commissioned studios out to buy games for you. I don't. What I'm basically saying is I don't want them continuing to make acquisitions turn into a thing of hate rather than a thing of being cheered
Celebration.
for yes, a thing of celebration.
Yeah, do you think that that somebody needs to stop a lot of these acquisitions? Do you think this overall is going to hurt the gaming?
I think after a while it's going to hurt gaming. Especially if all of the game companies are under like 3 studios and like the only thing left is indies and all big publishers are now like developed up and bought, like if just one of those companies fail, that's like a third of the industry going in the wind. Like it's and also the whole fact of like it does really take away that choice. Like not everybody, I've been blessed this generation to be able to have all three systems, but everybody can't do that. So it's like it's one thing to have exclusives, but then it's one thing where even games that you've been playing third party for years, all of a sudden, now I can only play Final Fantasy on PlayStation. Oh, now I can only which is kind of already happening. Oh, now I can only play Call of Duty on the Xbox. Well, I haven't seen Nintendo do anything like that, but you get my drift.
Definitely do. Overall, I'll say I think this is a good thing for Activision. I think Activision. I think a lot of people are wondering, but I think the way that Activision was going, Blizzard was going to either get sold or torn apart. They weren't making games. Let's be honest, for a lot of people who are listening, Blizzard was not making games. All the games that they had were on hold. They like Overwatch 2 was on hold. It wasn't being produced. They weren't coming out. It wasn't coming out. Diablo 4 on hold. Everything was on hold.
You just reminded me of something.
Yeah.
Have you noticed that every time, almost every time, except out of the first acquisition purchases, some outside of some of them, that every time Microsoft has moved in to make this purchase when the company is in trouble? So like that.
I literally said that in the beginning of the conversation. Yes, I did. I said that. I literally said that what's his name was having issues, not as bad as what's his name, but getting sued. Yeah, I went through all that already, sir.
Cut that in post.
No. We're gonna leave that in there for them to hear. We're gonna leave people for that to hear. Yeah, GNS. Well, that's another thing. GNS says, imagine E3 announcement next year. It's looking like there won't be no more E3.
So they're gonna be Game Fest from now on.
Yeah.
Game Awards.
Yeah. So I think that overall, I think this is a positive for Activision overall. I know a lot of people are still trying to decide whether or not this is a good thing or a bad thing, but trust me. Well, I can't say trust me, but I believe, this was the most positive outcome. I think if they were purchased by Amazon or Google or somebody else, Apple or Netflix, whoever, I don't know if they would have been able to continue the same, right? I'm curious to see. I don't expect any major layoffs outside of Kotick and some of the higher ups. But I'm very curious to see if there's any type of development layoffs or anything. Hopefully with this, a lot of these development layoffs stop now. And one thing we never talked about, but Microsoft has their esports group now. This is very interesting. They get a lot of stuff out of this. They get a lot of stuff. But that concludes, at least for now. We could talk about more of it on this Friday's podcast. I want to say thank you to my special guest, Beards. Well, not special guest, but my partner, co-host, Beards, for coming out. And we will be back again this Friday here on twitch.tv/ARN as in Nancy, GM as in Mary, ARNGM, Friday, 10 p.m. Eastern, for episode number 84 of Shoot the Shit. But until then, remember, folks, shoot the shit, don't be shit. Peace out, everybody.
Peace.